Hello, and welcome to the Dogfight, a podcast dedicated to the London Spitfire and Overwatch League. Fasten your seatbelts and observe the no smoking sign because today we'll be discussing the Spitfire's stressful beginning to Stage 2 and how the team looks to improve, as well as what is in store for the team in the second week. I'm Havokpus, joined by Jordan once again. How are you doing, Jordan?
Hi. I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing good. I could be
Excited
better.
stage 2 is back?
Yeah, really excited. There was a lot of really good matches for the first
Oh
week.
yeah.
I saw that viewership for Overwatch League actually beat NALCS for like the first time. I think over the
Yep,
weekend or
it's
something.
because of drops. They finally brought in drops for stage 2.
I love that they did it
So,
because I can
everyone
just have
is
it.
like,
I can have it running in the background.
yeah. I mean, that's what I did for all the games that like weren't Houston or Spitfire related. I just had it
Yeah.
on like the other computer while I played Overwatch on my main computer. I mean, not saying some of the games, I mean, there were a lot of really interesting games, but like, I just want those drops. I was not one of those people that got the 100 token drops, so I'm salty about it. I want it. I want more skins. So, some people got like 100 instead of just one. I'm
I think I
upset.
was one of those people.
Whatever. I'm so
I
mad.
got
I
a
love that.
Reinhardt skin. It's blue and it's great.
All right. You know what? It's fine. I'm just gonna have to keep watching. And of course,
Oh.
I was one of those gullible people who donated bits for Spitfire. Listen, I need that Tracer skin. I need that Tracer skin. I don't care. I would pay so much money. I mean, luckily it's like only $1.40 for the Overwatch League Tracer skin. I think we're almost at the goal for it. I think we're at like 20,000, like 200 million, I think, bits
Oh,
at this
okay.
point. I think.
That's not
Somewhere around
bad.
that. And not bad for just, 1 week of stage 1. Honestly, I
Yeah,
bet we're gonna get it by like next week. But
I wouldn't be
anyways, yeah, I
surprised.
really only watched the Houston Spitfire game, not like those two teams play. That's the only ones I really watched this week. Which I guess leads us to our first game, which was
Yeah.
kind of Spitfire versus Houston.
Yeah, I was gonna say make sure to bottle that rage, channel that energy, Jordan, because we're about
Yeah.
to tear into this
Okay.
match.
Yes. It's gonna be interesting because I know you don't follow Houston as much as I do, so I can like bring a little bit of perspective of what Houston did that like London didn't do
I've
with
been
the biggest
following Houston
map.
a little bit.
Yeah, I mean the one thing about this, well, first of all, we all know Houston won. It was 3-2. It was still a close match. It was probably my favorite game so far. I liked it more than New York's game. Not saying I'm happy that Houston won. I just thought it was like more entertaining to watch because I feel like Spitfire and Houston are a lot. They like counteract each other almost because Houston is a very anti-dive team while London was running a lot more dive during it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the biggest trouble that they had was the fact that they kept trying to do this Genji Tracer dive
Yeah,
comp, even when it wasn't working. Like they have this block
they
with
didn't switch
them.
much. They didn't
Yeah,
switch.
they have this blocked where like they'll try a comp, it doesn't work, and they'll just stay on that comp even though it's like, okay, it's clearly not working. You guys need to switch off of something to try a different approach. And they just didn't do that. And they also Kings Row, they did
It was
something really
just
weird where they didn't do like the triple tank or like the Slambulance comp
yeah. I was
that
about
was
to
like
say
been
the biggest
established before.
yeah the map that gave them the most trouble I think was Kings Row. Um, Mostly because Houston is really good with their synergy. They have like a way they play, which is where their tanks move up front, their DPS is in the middle, and then the healers are in the back, and they always run that. And they work really well off of that. And then when they brought Spree in, who is a really good Zarya, which is great for King's Row, London never brought in a Zarya. They never done. They didn't know what to do. It was really bad.
Yeah, it was ugly. And of course they had their issues on the control maps, which
Yeah, which
I had been personally lambasting them
I
for
don't
a
know why
while
London
now.
cannot do control. I don't understand. They just I don't know. And I feel like these sets of maps threw them off like more than the ones in stage 1. I feel like I don't know. I feel like they didn't really practice these maps as much, personally. I'm hoping that it might get a little bit better as like the stage goes on, but it did look really rocky from the start. But luckily, it was still a close match, though. I mean, we did have to go into a game 5, so it wasn't like London was completely just dropping the ball here. I'm making it sound like they dropped the ball completely, which they didn't. I still think Houston and London are like the two most equally matched teams.
Yeah, I kind of agree since every time it seems they've
Yeah, I
faced each
just
other, they're kind of. It's sort of like when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, which is actually the perfect metaphor for London and Houston.
yeah,
Right? London just likes
it's
to
just like
run at you and fight and punch you in the face, while Houston likes to just hold you like some kind
they
of
go slow.
wall, right? Some
They
kind of
go slow.
big green wall.
Yeah, I was watching because right now comp is over. So a lot of the pro players have been reviewing VODs of the other matches. For example, so ID the Cutie, I can't say that name way too fast. He was watching a bunch of VODs today, including the Spitfire London or Spitfire Houston match, in kind of breaking it down step by step of like what Houston was doing wrong or what London was doing wrong. Um, and yeah, most of it was just the control maps were just, but very interesting stuff. Um, I will say though, it was kind of weird not I mean, because now that we don't have Fissure or Rascal, it feels kind of weird to watch London play. I had to get used to it. I think Gesture did well though on as tank the entire time.
I mean, Jester's been playing for the most
Yeah.
part, so it didn't really feel weird for me. It mostly just
I was
felt
happy to
kind
see
of.
him doing well. I mean,
Yeah,
it was like cuz I always I mean cuz players getting moved around is a new thing for me. I'm not used to that in like watching these like competitive games. So it threw me off when like two of like really good players of ours left. So I'm glad that everything still seems like it's going normal.
yeah. Hopefully, it hasn't shaken up the environment too much.
It doesn't seem like it. I just think this was a really close match with Houston. Everything that happened that London didn't do correctly is really easily able to be fixed. They just need to work on control maps.
Yeah, this is
They
only
gotta do
like
they gotta do it.
yeah, this is only like the first week
And
of stage
yeah,
one.
I mean, definitely. And then also with the triple tank. Does anyone play Zarya on London's team
Oh, that's a good
or on our team?
question. They've been. I think before when they've done Zarya stuff, I think they did this weird thing where like they put profit on Zarya because I know that on a
Okay.
few I think it was either Lijiang. Yeah, it was on Lijiang or maybe Oasis some too. They would go Jester would be on Reinhardt, Prophet would be on Zarya, and
Hmm.
then Birdring would be on the Roadhog. They
Okay.
would do
I
this
mean,
like
cause
triple
yeah,
tank
cause
thing.
yeah, that's what I was trying to think. Cause it's because I don't remember seeing a Zarya player. That's what the one thing that Houston has the advantage of by having so many subs now. Because they brought on Fact Fiction, or they're waiting to bring on Fact Fiction, so that's already another tank. And then they have Spree, who's a Zarya main. So they can interchange that pretty easily in order to fit whatever triple tank or quad tank that they want. And I don't really know if Spitfire has that now. I don't think they
We
do, but
should. We
we
have
should.
two
Well,
spots.
I mean,
They should
look,
spend
we
some
got rid of
money.
Fissure. He could have been that, but you know what? I mean, I will say this. I know we aren't going to talk too much about Fissure and Rascal. They both seem like they're doing a lot better over on their new teams on Dallas and Gladiators.
Well, that's because they
Fissure
can
seems
actually
happier.
start.
They're both starters, and they both seem happy. Fisher
Yeah.
has been like super like out there about like how happy he's been really like interacting with like a lot of people. So good stuff on that. I know that has nothing to do with Houston game, but I guess we should have mentioned it at some point.
And we'll get around
Anyway,
to it
so
eventually.
yeah. So that's pretty much it. The Houston game, just easy fixes, first game, close match. We'll go against them again, probably at the stage final. So more than likely. I have a
Well,
feeling. Early
that
prediction.
actually depends on if the Spitfire can quit throwing control maps because moving on moving on
Yeah.
to the New York XL match where
Yep.
they barely won 3-2. Uh, Another horrid performance on Control and Kings Row.
Yep.
It did show a bit more versatility, I think. They were trying some new stuff. I really like what they're doing on Volskaya with the
Yeah, they're
Sombra
running
pick.
Sombra. Isn't that a GC Busan type of
I
thing? I
think
think that's what they
maybe.
used to do. That's like, if I remember correctly, that was something that they used to do a lot, was the Sombra strat on Volskaya for defense and offense. But it's great to see it. I love Sombra play.
It's
I
working
think she could
really
be really
well.
useful. Oh yeah. And also, this is just a personal thing. I think I was noticing this a lot with Houston when they're playing against Houston and Volskaya. I really like the Spitfire colors on that map. That's just a very aesthetic thing, but they look great. Um,
It does kind of match
it
with
was something.
everything.
It's just something I just noticed. I was just watching it, and I'm like, wow, these colors. But anyways, yeah, no, the Sombra strats on Volskaya seem to be really working in their favor. So, and I hope to see more of it. I wonder what else they're gonna do with Sombra. Um, and again, Control, Kings Row, two things they really got to work on. But we still pulled it off against New York.
I
We
think
still
only
did it.
barely though. We had some
Yeah.
like few points where it was just like, oh, that was a miracle defense, and like 9 times out of 10 that shouldn't have happened, and somehow
And also,
Profit or someone just goes in and just stalls long enough.
yeah, I was also going to say, New York also didn't have Arc playing because Arc has like a wrist injury, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
So
risk.
that's big for New York to not have Arc. So that probably also helped London out a bit. Um, just to not have a player like that on their team to be available to sub in even. So, it was still a close game. I'm glad they won, but I'm kind of hoping that next time we face them, it won't be so close, and hopefully by then we'll learn how to play King's Row or
Oh,
control
you and me
points.
both. My
You
heart
know.
needs to take a break. I think that match took maybe like 5 years off me, just in
Oh my god, especially I think
how stressful it was.
both those matches were super stressful. I mean, because they're both 5 match games, so or 5 map games. So I don't know. I mean, I like when games, I've said this before, I like when games aren't 4-0s all the time because 4-0s get really boring to watch. But at the same time, I want, Spitfire to win. So it's just like a weird in the middle for me. I had fun watching, but God, I needed some drinks afterwards.
Yeah.
I can say that now. I can get some drinks afterwards.
I
Um, eh, okay. So, I guess this ties into I guess we've already been talking about what we can do to improve during Stage 2. I know it's really early to talk about it. It's only the first week, but I guess better fix your mistakes now than playoffs, right? I guess.
Well, so why I put this in the show is because a lot of their issues are actually just carryovers from stage one that look
Yeah.
like they haven't really been fixed. Like Control, you need to fix this. Your team is throwing away maps, and map differential matters. You
Mhm.
need to stop doing this now and fix it. Either fix it internally or sign a couple of ringers who can actually play Control and let them run the show. I don't care what you have to do, but you need to fix this issue. It's not okay.
Yeah, I'm like, it's one of those things. I don't really know if London's gonna get any more people. We have the room now because we got rid of Fissure and Rascal, but I don't. I mean, I guess the reason we let them go is because they wanted to be like mains, but if the other reason was to like trim the fat, then I don't think London's gonna bring anyone over. So I'm not really sure like what we're gonna do if we're gonna add any more people down the line. But I do agree that like the biggest problem that they are having is with dropping maps. They just should not be doing that. There should not be a set type of map that you drop. If you're dropping a map, it should be because of like just whatever last minute overtime not getting it. Not not every single control map. I don't really know why, and I really hope they fix it. And that definitely leads also into Kings Row, which they are also doing awful at. So
Yeah, the thing
it just
is, they look so awful on Control specifically.
yeah.
Like all of the coordination that they have, like going in from like the first map, like on Volskaya, they look like a precise machine, and then
Hmm.
going into to Control, They completely drop the
Fiercely goal
ball.
advice.
Gesture is off on his own doing whatever. The supports are just in the middle of the fight and getting picked off.
Yeah.
And every like the DPS is just running around in circles trying to do something. Like every like semblance of coordination is lost, and they keep like just running way off the point to be like, no, we can fight here. And it's like, oh, they back capped again. No one was watching the
Yeah,
point.
no
Why
one
was no
went back.
one watching the point?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't really sometimes the healing is really off focus. And I do agree with the DPS. Because, I mean, Bird Ring can bring a show, but sometimes he doesn't focus where to go. And I've seen that sometimes. And that and Profit, both of them. But when they're on, but God, on control, it's like, I just don't know. They just don't seem like they have a plan. And I guess
Yeah,
that's the
I
problem.
think
They
that
don't
that's the
have a
biggest issue.
plan.
And I
And
think
then I
going
guess the
back,
last thing is, hmm?
I was gonna say with going into that, it kind of brings it
Yeah,
to their next issue in that your tanks and your supports are constantly dying.
dying.
If Gesture's dying, you have no main tank, so you're not going to be able to really soak up damage. Your healers are getting picked off because it has no protection, partly because Gesture is dying. So then your healing falls off. And then with all that happening, you're just going to be throwing away maps. So you need to fix this issue somehow and
So
really
I
tighten
guess
that
what
up.
you know, work more on control, work more King's Row, and then work more on keeping their tanks and everyone just alive. And then I guess, the last thing also is the comps. The comps have just not been good. At least against Outlaws, they tried doing the Genji Tracer, which, I mean, that is a good comp for certain teams, but Houston is very well known to be an anti-dive team. They
Yeah,
are
I think
just the most well-known anti-dive team, I think, in the league who do it the best.
yeah, to
So,
run Genji Tracer into that just kind of feels really disrespectful. And it seems that just like you clearly know that they're prepared for this super dive
yeah, I
kind of
mean,
difficult
it just didn't.
execution comp.
I just don't know why they didn't switch.
And
I'm
that's
just
the
not
thing.
really
Like
sure.
they don't know how to switch.
Yeah, that's. I mean, is that what would that be like? More flexibility in practice or in scrims than you think?
I think it's just
Like, that's
beating
like
and
an issue I'm
like
trying to figure out how to solve.
it's I think it's just beating into them that like look, if something isn't working and you're not gaining ground after like two pushes or something, just
They just
abandon
back
it.
out.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's
I
back out.
think I think
Yeah,
against NYXL they actually showed more flexibility on this, and I think they're on the right path.
they just
They're
gotta
putting
keep working at it.
yeah, they're putting
And
Birdring
we have
on
time.
this. They're putting Birdring on this hit scan role,
Mhm.
and Prophet is being more of the flanker specialist role, and I think that's really working because Birdring, he's not really. He's much better at just kind of sitting way back, being with the healers, and just shooting at everyone, while Prophet is actually in the mix and being a distraction. I think
Yeah.
that schematic or whatever is really great, and that's really been working for them. And then they go on this
Yeah.
Genji
I mean,
Tracer thing.
luckily it's only first week. We still got plenty of games.
That's true.
So, this is all stuff that can be fixed. I don't think that London's doing awful. I know we've been really Debbie Downer here. We don't think London's doing really awful. They still won against New York. They still were close with Houston. It's only first week. I mean, it's just kind of like it seems shaky, but easily fixed. I don't know. I feel like we're doing really negative. I don't want to be super negative.
Well,
It's
well,
already a Monday. It's already like late. I don't want to be super negative.
well. My harshness is just that I'm holding the team to a high standard because of
I
the
mean, that's fair.
roster. The roster that they have. Jack bought pretty much like some of the best Korean talent you could buy at that time. They should
Yeah.
not be playing like they are sometimes. They should be playing consistently. They should be able to, you know, a lot of these games should be walks in the park for them. They shouldn't be struggling so much. And I think they should have
Yeah. I
issues
mean,
like this resolved by now. The fact that they don't is a little worrying.
I do agree on that. I do think this should have been fixed last stage, or at least by the end of last stage. I get it if it wasn't done like at the middle of last stage because it was still for stage one. But now that the stage is over, we are technically stage one champs. We should not be having type of problems. I do agree with that. But we're gonna about to go into week 2. We can we should probably at some point mention what's going on week 2. I do think next week is gonna be or this coming week is gonna be a little bit easier for us overall.
Yeah,
Or
well,
the first week was a little bit of a tough one. We had to deal with both Houston and New York, which were we had to face them in the stage 1 playoffs. So the next week, this coming week is going to be a little bit of a lighter load, I think.
yeah, we'll be playing against the Florida Mayhem on Thursday, March 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then on Saturday, March 3rd at 4 p.m. Eastern, we'll be playing against the Philadelphia Fusion. So I think
Guess we should
there's
start
not
with
even much to say about the Florida Mayhem. I mean, they've been playing like garbage for most of the time. I saw them play for week 1. They still looked like garbage. So I think it should
I
be an easy 4-0.
I will say to give Florida a little bit of support. I don't really like beating down everybody all the time. I like a little bit of positivity in my life. Um, Florida's been doing a little bit better, not like great. That's like they're still not good, but they're improving. At least the game that they're doing a little bit better. It's still going to be a 4-0, no doubt in my mind, but like they're doing a little bit better. The McDonald's team is like doing all right ish, kind of
Ish,
ish.
maybe.
I mean, you know what? They're still bad, but they're doing just that a little bit better. So I'll be polite to them. It'll still be a 4-0 though. But London still
Yeah,
should not go like weird. London shouldn't throw it though.
they should not lose a single map to Florida. If you lose a single map to Florida, I think there's something wrong with your team.
I mean, it's not even that. It's more of like we need to just get as many like wins as possible. So they just shouldn't, so they can stay near the top. That's it. That's they just this is their chance to rack up a 4-0, so they should take it. Take as
I
many of
think
them as you can, because like games like the one against New York and Houston, that's what makes us lose maps. That makes us not be like on the top of the standings, and this is like an easy way to get that back. So yeah, it will just be kind of a 4-0 game though.
Yeah, I think the game to really watch is the Philly Fusion though, because they
Yeah.
looked kind of scary with EQO in lineup. He looked pretty deadly actually, and plus they have people like Paco, Fraggy, and Carpe to kind of round out their teams more or less.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
considering how shaky
EQO
London
is
has been, it's going to
very
be kind of difficult.
yeah, EQO is very interesting to me. He's someone who I've been kind of watching for a while. Mostly because there's not a lot of players in the Israeli scene. Um, little known fact, I've been to Israel once before. My family's like Jewish, so I find interest in it. I can speak a little bit of like Hebrew and stuff, and or read it and stuff like that. So Israeli teams are kind of interesting to me. So I've seen EQO before the actual like Overwatch League, so I was excited to see him play. He played just as well as I expected him to play. I don't think he's really gonna have too much of like I don't think he's gonna cause London too much of a problem as long as like we focus him enough. We just don't give him enough room to really go too hardcore. Like just if we give him the freedom to do what he wants, he will. So I don't think it'll be too much of a problem. Um I don't think this is gonna be as close of a game with Houston or New York. I think we're still gonna win. I just think this is probably gonna be a little bit harder than the Florida one. I mean, I guess that's dumb to say. Of course, it's gonna be harder than Florida one. That rude? That's kind of rude. That's kind of
You have
rude.
to be rude, Jordan. This is esports.
Oh no! Let me be a nice person.
No, all teams are trash but yours, and you have to be the number one on top.
Ah, all right, fine. Listen, Florida's gonna go down. Then Philly's gonna go down. We're gonna be number one. That's it.
There we
The
go.
end, right?
That's how you do it.
Yep. I'm making you proud. But yeah, I don't think this I think it's not gonna be any problem. I think it's gonna be a fine game to watch. Um I think at most it's gonna be kind of interesting to see Shadowburn of course come back in. I always like seeing him play, even if like it's just fun to watch him play. I'm excited to see him go against Birdring and Prophet. I always love seeing him go against Birdring and Prophet, so I think it's gonna be a fun game, but I still think it's gonna be an easy one for us.
I think it might be difficult. I'm not sure considering like Philly played Florida and Boston for the first week, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure since like this meta basically kind of shakes everything up. So I'm not sure how much like the
I don't
first
remember if
stage
Philly
power
has like a
rankings like
yeah.
shaped out. So like
Yeah,
Boston looked
I can double
strong.
check really quick. Well,
Boston looked strong
um,
before, but then coming into stage one, Philly like completely obliterated them. So
yeah,
I'm not sure if Philly's just super strong or if they just had really soft matchups and they'll be going in with a false sense of confidence or something. I don't know.
yeah. All right, I'm looking at the standings right now. That's after I guess this past game. The standings carry over from stages, so it doesn't like reset the standings. Um, we are in fourth place. First place is New York, then it's Houston, then it's Seoul, then us. Well, technically we're tied with Seoul, actually, but it still puts us in fourth place. Because I don't really know why. I think they have like more ties than we do. Oh no, we have one more loss than they do. That's why. So we have one more map loss than Seoul does,
Oh
technically.
geez, the map loss. I wonder why.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's why I'm saying that with Florida, if we can get that 4-0, let's just take it. Poor Florida, they're in 11th place. And of course, Shanghai's in last place. They haven't won a single match.
I'm
They
hoping
haven't won.
I'm still hoping that they can just go the whole season without winning, just
I
to have like the bad record.
I mean, they could be like the Browns. We'll all celebrate. That's what isn't that what the Browns do? I think they just had like they had a parade or something because they had a perfect season of
Yeah,
losses.
yeah, they had a parade.
So yeah, exactly. We could do the same thing. I would gladly run a parade for the Dragons for their completely zero season. I would.
Great.
I would support it. I think it'd be a party. I'd have a good time. But yeah, no, we're in fourth place. I mean, technically third place because we're tied with Seoul, but it places at a four. It places us at fourth. So we need to get that 4-0, and we need to beat Philly. Philly's in sixth place, by the way. Um, pretty far down from like where we are. So that's why I'm like, I still think we're gonna win. It might be a little harder, but it's not gonna be too tough. If it was like Valiant, I'd be a little more nervous, honestly.
I'd actually be more
Yeah,
comfortable with Valiant because Valiant doesn't.
really.
Valiant seems to be like so hit or miss that
That's fair.
they're
I think
it's
Fusion's the
just
same
super
way too.
struggling.
And Boston is definitely hit or miss at this point. I have no idea what's up with Boston. I know we're completely off track of Spitfire. I have no idea what happened with Boston. They got 4-0'd by Houston. I have no earthly idea what that was. It was because like Boston was like such a threat or potential threat at the end of stage one. Then stage two was like, nah, whatever, bye. I have no idea what the heck happened. So
Yeah, I think the uprooting of the Mercy meta actually
shook a lot of
really
things up.
changed how the teams work. So like some teams that were really struggling with the Mercy meta now are unburned by it, and some that really used it as a crutch are struggling because they don't have that sort of
Yeah.
free life. It's kind of interesting.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I agree with that. I wonder. I mean, well, I guess we know now there's gonna be a lot more changes coming down the line for other heroes like Hanzo, Symmetra. You know, Symmetra never gets played, so I guess that's not that big of a deal. But yeah, no. I still think it'll be an okay game overall. So yeah, I
Well,
think that's kind of it.
let's finish with our predictions. So,
Oh.
what do you think about the games? What's the score going to be?
I mean, I still think Florida should be a 4-0. I think Philly is going to be a 3-1.
All right, it should be 4-0 Florida, but I'm gonna tack on the 3-1 because I have no faith in the Spitfire on control.
Wow. I mean, that's fair. I mean, see, I don't have faith in them either in
Given
that,
at
but at
this
the
point,
same
Jordan.
time, like, yeah, yeah.
And as for the Philly, we've been kind
Yeah.
of inconsistent, so I'm not sure how it will be. It could range from a 3-0 to us just losing 2-3 because the tiebreaker will be on control, and we extremely struggle with control maps. So it
I
could
don't
go so
think
many
we'll.
ways, I think.
I still am gonna keep Philly at a 3-1. I think what's probably gonna happen is we'll do well the first map. They'll take the second map. We'll take the next map afterwards, and then we'll take the last map.
Are you confident that we can
That's what I
perform on
guess.
Kings Row against them?
I don't know if they have very many. I don't know their tank lineup very well, to be quite honest with you.
Poco is like the best diva
I
in
know
Overwatch
Poco.
League, or one of the
I
best. And
know
Fraggy
Poco.
Fraggy does okay. He's not
That's the
like the
thing.
best, but he does his job.
I mean, I know Poco will be a trouble. Fraggy, I'm like, eh. So I don't know. I want to keep my 3-1. Honestly, I do. I want to keep my 3-1. If they might lose King's Row, but I feel like they'll win the other three potentially.
I
So
actually just looked it up. They're actually playing on Hollywood, so that might actually
hmm.
be a benefit to them.
Yeah, actually, that actually sounds great. I like that they're switching up the maps. By the way, I know I wasn't here for the last podcast where you guys probably talked about that. I love that they're switching up the maps. One day we're gonna have Blizzard Roll be a map, and it's gonna be awful, but I'm very excited to watch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like
Blizzard
that.
World seems like
I
the
like that it
worst
offers a
map.
change of scenery.
I feel like Blizzard World would be the worst map to play on. There's just so much going on.
It's too
Anyways,
big is the problem for a hybrid map. I think that's
yeah,
the issue.
yeah. Anyways, no, I think it's still gonna be a 3-0. Um, so or not 3-0, 3-1, and then Florida be a 4-0. I mean, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else to really talk about this week?
I
I
can't
mean,
really
this has
think
kind
of
of been a
anything.
slow week. I mean, I guess the only things to really talk about is how Fisher and Rascal are doing since like they're not here. And London's been really supportive of them doing what they're doing. I mean, they aren't part of Spitfire anymore, granted, but I guess it's kind of slightly like important, I guess, to just wrap up like how they did, and then we won't ever talk about them again. Um,
Yeah, I will admit before.
I'm excited to see them play against London, though. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I will admit. When they started playing for their first week on different teams, I was kind of hoping they would lose, just to kind of be
I
like, see,
mean,
this is what you get for going to a different team. You could have stayed with us and won.
Fisher lost one game. I don't remember if he won the other though. I don't remember.
I
Hold
think
on, let
he
me double
maybe
check
went
that.
1-1.
Was it 1-1?
I think so.
Yeah. Your week one.
Dallas 2-0 though. Dallas looks actually really good now that they have actual good DPSs in AKM and Rascal in effect.
Honestly, as much as you can put me on record here forever, I don't like XQC. As much as I don't like him, he's a good Winston and a really good Reinhardt. Don't like his attitude. Got a lot of talent though.
Oh, I
Um,
hate him to my
he
very
is.
core, but I will recognize his skill for sure.
Yes. No, I mean, don't like his personality, but man, he has some talent there. Um, Seeing him go against Fissure was really interesting. Um, Fissure was playing very smart against Gladiator. I mean, not against Gladiators, against Dallas. You could definitely see where Fissure has like, I guess like he never died. First of all, he always found a way to not die. It was kind of amazing to watch that because I rewatched the VOD of him playing before the podcast. He just wouldn't die. He always like found a way to jump out of a situation before he died. And he also played his Winston bubble very smart. It was just very interesting to watch him play. He's definitely seems like he is going to boost that team immensely.
Fisher's like one of the best Winstons, I
Yeah,
think. I
it's honestly a
remember
shame we didn't have him anymore.
I remember watching his
Kind of a
stream
shame.
during the off season, waiting for Overwatch League to start, and watching him play. And he's like jumping around. He's like making all these calls, and he's trying to get his people, like on his team to like do what he wants. And he's like just trying to like do all this stuff all at once. And it was really amazing to see like one player do all this stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah, and Fisher also has been really active with Gladiators actually. I think I don't remember if it was today or if it was like yesterday. He did an AMA with like competitive Overwatch subreddit. Um, and a lot of the questions are really interesting. Some of them made me a little bit like sad. and a little bit concerned, some of it. Like, for example, I'm trying to remember one in particular. They asked him, like, what was like, how was, like, the transition for him to move over to, like, gladiators from us? Apparently, like, the gladiators are much better in terms of living and food. Um, like, he said that, and a part of me's like, "Are they feeding them well? Is
Are
is
you eating?
are they eating?" 'Cause, like, that's, like, I mean, I know I shouldn't read into that much, 'cause that's, like, I mean, it could be, like, one really nice living situation to a nicer living situation, not, like, a bad to a good, but at the same time, I'm like, "What are they doing? What
I
are they
mean, they're
not
staying in
eating
like a
well? Are they
mansion,
not
I
living well?"
believe.
I don't know, I mean, apparently, I guess gladiators are doing it better, I don't know. I guess the gladiators are eating better and living better, I don't know.
I mean,
Um,
I would also assume that it's partly because I think I've read before and I've heard before that like Korean teams do things way different than Western teams, and since Gladiators is a more Western team, I think
they
they're
probably
having a
have
more like
diff
laid back focus to their approach. Not to say they're
living
not
their
trying. I mean, I assume that they're scrimming and doing all the other stuff very seriously, but I think with Korean atmosphere, it's just like practice, 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 practice. And I think with Western teams, it's more like, okay, we'll practice some, then we'll hang out and grab some food and kind of discuss stuff in more of like an open, kind of chill environment. So maybe he's he likes the kind of more like toned down atmosphere. Who knows?
Yeah, it seems like he's just having more fun in general, at least from what he's been posting and kind of like because he's also been on a lot of Twitch streams, like in the chat for a lot of them. He ended up in IDDQD's. Can't never
He needs to
pronounce that
change
name.
his name. That's too hard to
He
say.
does. It's too hard for me to say. He was in
It's
his
not
stream
marketable.
actually watching. He was actually in his stream when he was going over the Gladiator Dallas game. And every time like Fissure like did a good play, he always like spam PogChamp. It was really funny.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So he's having a little more fun. Rascal, on the other hand, I don't really know about Rascal. He's playing really well for Dallas. I don't know if he's doing better though. Apparently, him and XQC made up, whatever that means. Whatever
Yeah,
contract obligation that, whatever contract obligation they had to do to get him to
XQC
re-add him
has
back
to
on
accept his
Overwatch.
friend
Yeah,
request.
exactly. Um,
Yeah, I was actually curious if Rascal would actually mesh well with XQC given his personality.
See, I think I mean, this is just a kind of a personal thing, since we have time. I think XQC is unfortunately in a bubble where most of the team just deals with him because he's good, but not really enjoy playing with him outside of it.
It sounds like such a bad
I have like
environment to create for your team.
I have like a feeling, and the only reason I say that is because it seems like the only people that really enjoy XQC on the team is TMU because he's like kind of the same way, and Mickey. Because Mickey just is always happy. You can't upset
He's
Mickey, it
so
doesn't matter what you
wholesome.
do.
How can Mickey
He's
ever be
wholesome,
mad?
I love his pink hair, by the way. He's just wholesome. I know for a fact Effect doesn't like him. I mean, he's did that before. Uh, I remember Siegel was really mad when XQC had, like, his penalties on him. So, I mean, as I said, I don't really know. I hope Rascal is doing okay in that whole situation. It seems like he's working really well with Effect and AKM, so I guess that's all that matters.
I think that's
They did really
probably
well.
I think that's probably the incentive that got Rascal to go over to Fuel, even if it's like, well, I have to work with XQC, but it's like I
I
also
mean,
get
he
to work
said
with
didn't he say,
Effect.
like, yeah, I think he said in the past at some point, that was, like, one of the players he would love to play on a team with was Effect. So and I mean, it's kind of a DPS powerhouse. I thought we were a DPS powerhouse, but god,
I
like,
mean,
that's
we
pretty
are.
it's pretty intense. Um, I hope they do well. I mean, I hope they don't beat us, but I hope they do well, and I hope that they're enjoying their spotlight a bit more. Even though I still don't think Rascal's a main. I actually thought about that. I don't think Rascal's a main DPS, so
I think they swap him
I mean,
in
I guess he's
sometimes.
getting
It might be more map specific.
maybe. I mean, I guess he's still getting more playtime than he was on London, so
That's true.
that was something I thought of because at first I thought they only wanted to leave because they wanted to be main, but Rascal isn't. AKM is. AKM is like a god on that team. They are just pocketing him all the time. They put all the cards in AKM.
Yeah. Well, I guess I guess they hopefully they do well. It's kind of that weird situation when Impact
I want them
left.
to do well, but don't
Yeah, it's
don't
like
mess
when
with us.
Impact left Cloud9 to play for Team Liquid. I think I even said it maybe on Bodied when we talked about it. I think I said like,
Mhm.
yeah, I hope he does well, but whenever we play him, I hope we beat him into the dirt.
Oh yeah, no. I feel like that's always that way. If you ever find like a friend or someone you know on like another team, you purposely go after them. You make their life hell, and that is the point.
I'm gonna make you suffer.
Make you suffer because you're not with me. So I'm gonna make you suffer. Good luck on your own, but I'm gonna make you suffer person. How's that for positivity?
Old sportsmanship.
Oh, good sportsmanship. I'm full of it. Oh, I mean, I think that's it for this week. I mean, with the first week, there isn't too much going on just
Yeah,
yet.
there's not really much to
Um,
really talk about.
Not really. We'll get more into it, of course, as the weeks go on, and then soon we're gonna be at the halfway point. And I guess isn't contenders starting soon? So I guess soon we'll be able
Yes,
to
I was
talk
actually
about
gonna make an announcement before I read the outro.
Uh-huh.
Everyone, mark your calendars because March 11th, the British Hurricane will be playing their first game against Singularity in EU
Ooh.
contenders. You'll have to check the website for your local time because
Mhm.
time zones are really weird. I think for me it comes on at like 12 p.m. Central or something.
Isn't
But
it isn't it like EU contenders?
yes, it's EU contenders.
That's why, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
so
I mean,
time zones are weird.
I didn't get to talk about my opinion on Hurricane because I
Oh, do
wasn't
you want
here
to give
last
it?
time, but I am
Do you want to give
excited.
it real quick?
I mean, I guess I can. I'm really excited. Like, no duh, I'm very excited. I'm glad that we actually have British players. Um, I'm excited that I actually know some of the names. I know that sounds like really bad, but I know some of them. I was a little worried about that. I mean, I'm kind of excited. I'm glad. I like the name first of all. I like how they're still trying to tie it into like the whole air type of thing. Um, I'm hoping the one thing that makes me a little sad about the British Hurricane is that they have like outright said that they more than likely are never going to be able to join the London Spitfire, which is kind of depressing, but I'm still excited for them
I mean,
overall.
it makes sense when you
I
look
mean, it
at the
makes sense, of
teams.
course,
So I
because
mean, like you for Overwatch League, you need the best of the best, and that's mostly going to come from Korea. And you have a full Korean
yeah,
squad, so you need to keep that structure there. And the
yeah, I'm trying to.
contenders, you can have EU players and still be the best in EU.
Sorry.
The minor
Yeah,
league stuff I think is still just as prestigious. It's just that the level might not be
yeah.
as high.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, as I said, I'm really excited for KYB to be there. Fusions is gonna be there. I mean, Craggy. I'm very excited for Craggy. I love watching him play and stream. So I mean, I'm excited overall. I'm hoping that they'll produce really cool stuff. I can say this because this doesn't involve EU contenders, but I'm also excited because DC has a team, and as someone who's from the East Coast, I'm glad DC has a contenders team. I'm just gonna shout that out real quick. I found that out this morning, so that's very exciting for me. But that's like US contenders. I think that's a separate thing, so I don't think they're gonna bump heads unless they actually. Is that how it works? I can't remember if that's how it works.
Um, no, I don't think EU contenders ever faces NA contenders unless
Okay,
there's
so
some
yeah, I
like
can. Okay, so I
international
can root for my.
thing.
So I can root for my DC team, and then I can also root for British. It's okay, cool. I love it. I really,
Yes.
I want a home team. That's all I want. NRG is like based in DC. Why? It's like I don't know. Okay, I'm not gonna go into that. Anyways, yep, I'm really excited for British Hurricane. That's my kind of my opinion on them, and they're gonna be playing really soon. So we will definitely be covering that. So
For sure. Well, I think that's going to do it for us today. So please put your tray tables up and return your seats to their full upright position because we're coming in for a landing. So thank you for listening to our podcast, and we hope to see you again real soon.
in the skies real soon.
Yes, in the skies, in the air, in the clouds.
In the clouds. I mean, we're Cloud9. We're just floating in the clouds
To
here all the
drive
time.
home that sky and plane metaphor.
Mm-hmm. Gotta soar through the air. All right, bye guys.
All right, bye.